Rise for a strong dose of love, joy, laughter, and information for healthy living.
Well, we're living in our purpose because God put us on this earth. Our purpose on this earth was to encourage each other. I often wonder why there are so many people, but that is the way God operates.
Happy New Year to you from the Arise Show. And I hope that your year has been so far good. I pray that you have good health, you prosper, and remember to love your neighbor. But in the meantime, I would love to introduce my guest to you. This guest I have today went on a approximately 30-year hiatus from painting and now producing the most beautiful, bold, exceptional artwork you have ever seen. Welcome to the show, Edmond Wilson. Yay! Okay, I just want to go ahead and dive into it because I got to get you back to your game, make sure you're not late for your game or anything. So, 30 years. Explain the 30 years. 30 years is a long, long stretch, right? And so much has happened in between. Kind of take us through that to come back to what you know now is your first love.
My 30-year hiatus is based on, and I probably need to be a little more specific about it. It's based on me painting on canvas, actually.
Okay.
So after I graduated high school, I went to the School of Visual Arts in New York, and we took some basic painting classes where we painted on canvas. After I left the school, after a year, I didn't paint on canvas again until I started this new art journey.
And why was that?
I was still doing art, color pencil, pastels, drawing with pen and markers, but no canvas paintings. I hadn't done any canvas paintings.
Okay. And so you moved on and then you started doing it and take us up until like now.
So in 2015, my mother got me some paintbrushes for Christmas.
Mama knows best.
Yeah, and I said, wow, let me see if my paint from 1986 is still good, because I still had the paint. And the majority of the oil, this was oil paint, the majority of them were still good. They were in aluminum tubes. So a couple of tubes had small cracks in it from me bending them, and those dried out, but the majority of them were still good. So I said, well, let me try, the paint and see how it turns out. And the first painting I did was a Muhammad Ali painting, and it came out amazing. And that just kind of restarted it for me.
So, like, when did you realize that you had a true skill? Because now you've taken this leap and you've gone full-time into your art business. And how long has this been?
I started full-time around 2015, I guess the end of 2015. So it's been 7 years.
Yeah. And that was a major leap. Because we'll come back to that question, but I guess now I just want to know, that was a major sacrifice to go into, the art business. You're on your own now, you're away from that every 2 weeks or weekly or however that consistent paycheck. You're away from that now. What was that like?
Very rough. Of course, my wife was on board with it. She encouraged it.
She was the one who told you to go into it full time, right?
Absolutely. She said, well, why don't you try your art. I was looking at her like, they talk about starving artists, right? So, and actually, so I didn't stop working completely. I was actually driving. I was a Lyft driver.
Okay.
So I did that for 3 years. And, sitting in that car for up to 10 hours sometimes really make you think about, what you want to do or what you should be doing.
Right.
So that was really a struggle. It was rewarding in terms of the money if you put the hours in driving. But I think what really did it for me was I was driving and I had surpassed the 10 hours and the app told me, it was like a joke that popped up. Hold on, you gotta sleep for 6 hours before you can continue to drive. And I was actually working both platforms, Lyft and Uber. So I just switched over to the platform and continued driving. And I would get sleepy sometimes and have to get out the car and take a walk or get some coffee. I knew where all the 7-Elevens were in the DC metro area. And, I just thought about it and I said, this is probably a good time for me to go ahead and chase my dream or live in my dream, I should say.
Right. Show us some of your work that you have now.
Few pieces. This is a Mary J. Blige piece. Do you need me to maybe give you a close up on him?
Yeah, please. I want everyone to see the texture that you have there, especially with the Mary J. Blige.
Okay. Let me unhinge. Okay, I think now. Can you see it now?
Yes. Oh,
so
wow.
So what I did with her hair was curled really nicely. And I said, let me see if I can duplicate that with texture. And I used a palette knife. And so this is oil paint.
Now, go ahead.
Actually, she's not finished. I have to put some detail. I have to detail her jewelry. And just tighten her up a little more. I think I got to go back in on her face a little more. This is, let's see if I can hold this correctly. This is the model Alec Welk. And I think I found this in one of the magazines, Vogue, or I forgot which magazine.
And what was it about her that made you want to capture her?
Just the strikingness of her pose. And I think the elongation of her legs. It was just a stunning pose. And I said, wow. And it's kind of a different style from what I typically do because I normally just do portraits. I don't do full figures. So that it was definitely a step in a different direction. Up here, we got James Brown.
Of course. And just I noticed, when you talk about details, I noticed for some reason, I just noticed his fingernails. They're just noticeable.
I thought it was important to capture his hands and get good detail, even with his wrist, his cufflink. And the picture was kind of distorted. So, it didn't even allow me to get a whole lot of detail on it. But, you kind of pick and choose where you go for your detail.
Okay.
Couple of strands of hair I was able to capture.
Oh, wow, I see.
So I thought that it was important to have the mic and his hands have a lot of detail in them. So, as an artist, that just kind of allows you to create a little bit.
Yes.
And this one here, this is actually probably my prize. This was an early wall painting. This is of my son.
Okay.
He was in high school, and he's got light colored eyes.
And you capture that.
They're green today and gray tomorrow.
And it's
So
like it's as if the eyes are actually looking right at you.
Oh yeah, this was a photograph that I took of him headed back to the locker room, and it really speaks to who he is. This is him. This is him. So I focused on his eyes, which I thought was really important. I left out, he's got curly hair, but I kind of left that out just, because I wanted the focus to be on his face and on his eyes.
Oh, wow. So calculating.
This is an abstract piece, my first abstract piece, which was, I said, well, let me try it and see what I could come up with. Now this one,
I love it.
Thank you. This one is done with house paint. This one is done with house paint. And I was able to get a lot of detail and 3D. I was able to make the paint really thick so that it kind of stands off the canvas. So
I just try to get into the mind of an artist. So what were your goal with that particular piece right there?
This one, I just took all the colors and opened them up and just started painting. There was no sketch. I just went for it.
That's why it's abstract, huh?
Yeah, and I said, let me try something different. I know all my lines aren't perfectly horizontal and balanced.
Right.
But I thought that these lines, the colors of them and just them intertwining with each other was really important. So I like it. It's the main piece here in the room. This is another piece that I really like. And this piece is actually sold. This piece was sold at my show last week.
Oh, wow.
But I brought it back.
Oh, you even caught the glasses, how his glasses are sometimes. Oh, wow.
With his glasses, and I'm not looking I'm trying to capture that you can see that the glasses come off the canvas. I don't know if you can really see that.
Yeah.
But he had on some really colorful glasses. And I said, well, let me see. So what I did with this is I took dry paint and cut it up and ripped it up so that the glasses would be 3D.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so they're actually 3D. The glasses are actually 3D. So after I sold the piece, I told the guy that I was going to bring it back home and just clean it up a little bit because it's traveled. I painted this one a couple years ago. So through my shows that I've done, it's gotten scraped up. I got to touch up the edges a little bit. I just wanted to clean it up. And actually, I think I have to put some varnish on it to clean it up.
I noticed you've done quite a few celebrities. And like renowned people. Has anyone ever reached out to you, or you've ever sent some of your work to anyone so they can see it?
No. So a lot of people say, why don't you hashtag or tag them, when you post it on social media? And just take, for instance, Spike Lee. Spike Lee, from what I've noticed, is probably one of the most painted celebrities that I've experienced. So my thought process was, I'm just another artist tagging his work.
Right.
I mean, tagging him, through social media. So a lot of times my friends will just take the photograph and then they'll tag them. And I kind of feel a little more comfortable with other people doing it as opposed to me doing it. I don't want to seem too thirsty, I guess.
Right.
Like I painted a Jay-Z, excuse me, recently, and one of my friends tagged Beyonce in it. I haven't seen a response from it, but we'll see. You know, we'll see what happens.
Okay, so there's just such a wide range of art out there and different styles, and so how do you define your work and be comfortable in your work when there's such a wide variety out there? How do you say this? How do you remain confident in what you do?
How do I remain confident? That's a struggle with most artists, is that we're kind of perfectionists and we always feel like it may not just be good enough to present to the world.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a pretty common thing that we have as artists. But for me, my philosophy is this: I only need one person to fall in love with it, to purchase it and put it and hang it in their home. So initially, when I first started posting on social media, I was a little nervous about it. You know, I was feeding into how many likes would I get, you know, knowing that I had a couple thousand followers.
Right.
I was concerned about how many likes I would get. And then I realized, you know, likes don't pay the bills, and likes won't get the painting purchased, you know, and then home. So I thought about it and I said, you know what? I really only need one person to really love it to purchase my artwork. So that's what I stand on.
On the ones that love it. But you want to just focus on your supporters. You want to reach those audience, and those are the ones who you want to please, because you just can't reach everyone.
I would agree with you. I used to kind of get into my feelings and wonder why, you know, my family and my close inner circle weren't supporting my work in terms of buying it and purchasing it. They would compliment me, but they weren't buying my work. And then I realized that that's not really my audience.
Right.
My audience is so much larger, you know, than just my immediate circle and my friends. So there was an adjustment period, you know, of, you know, why am I not getting enough likes, or why is no one buying my work? And everybody is commenting how great it is, but no one's inquiring about purchasing the work. So that was something that I had to, you know, get over myself.
And keep moving.
And keep it moving.
Right.
Keep it moving.
The art world, do you find that there's much support within your community?
Yes, one of the biggest support communities that I've been a part of is definitely the art world. I've met a lot of artists in this short time that I've been doing it, and everyone willing to offer advice or offer a technique, or, you know, you can get supplies from this place, you know, every year they do a 70% off. So very helpful. And then actually I have a artist that we both grew up in the same town, Frank Morrison, who's one of the best artists out there. I don't know him personally, but, you know, we connected through Facebook, and just the fact that we're both artists and both from the same town, and, you know, we know a lot of the same people. I reached out to him inbox and he responded right away, and he's been helpful. I've reached out to him a couple of times. I kind of feel like I've worn out my welcome with him, but he's been amazingly helpful in a couple of times that I reached out to him. So the art community, because I think as artists, we realize how tough it is being an artist. And, you know, as Erykah Badu says, we sensitive about our.
Right.
I think that's something that we all have in common as artists. So we tend to, you know, help each other out.
Mm-hmm. How would
Very,
you
very encouraging.
how would you describe your art?
I would say
Your
my,
style of art.
my style of art is considered kind of realism. There's a couple different ways to describe it. It's portrait mainly. I do portraits, so it's mainly portraits. I work in acrylics mainly also. Probably 99% of my paintings are acrylic. And I paint in oil as well, like the portrait of Jameer, my son right here, that's actually in oil. And I mean, if you think about the comparison of taking a drop of oil and a drop of water and putting it on a surface, the water is going to spread, where the oil is kind of it's got more viscosity and it's going to stand up. Mm-hmm. So, if you kind of think about it, that oil, although they're both on canvas and it's, millimeters of thickness in the difference of the two, the oil paint is a little richer in color. So actually, I kind of still call this my practice stage of where I am with it. And I want to gradually just do oil because it's definitely richer. But for some reason, I've been able to capture the feel of oil through the acrylic painting, because a lot of times people will ask me, is this oil or is it acrylic? Mm-hmm. So what I do is I allow the acrylic. So I use mainly, I would say probably 90% of my paintings, I use house paint from Home Depot. I use the Behr brand.
House paint.
House paint. If you can hang on just for a second, I'll show you.
You're about to make me go and start painting something.
Well, that's what we want to do as artists. We want to inspire. So here's what I use mainly. Behr. Wow. Behr paint from Home Depot. So it's a little lighter on the pocket also. So this is, I think this is 8 ounces. Mm-hmm. Yeah, seven and a quarter ounces. So this at Home Depot is a little under $4, like $3.92. Whereas the size from an art supply store like this will probably could be anywhere from maybe $15 to $25, $30, depending on the color, because with art paint, the different minerals that they use are a little more expensive, like cadmium. If the paint has cadmium in it, right, it tends to be a little more expensive. So okay. Yeah, this is my go-to right here.
You got your tips right here on the Rise Show.
And so another tip is Home Depot has, and I typically do Home Depot, I'll go to Lowe's every so often, but Home Depot will have what's called oops paint, where the customer will come in and request a color, and then they get it home and put it in their house, and the lighting gives it a different effect than the swatch that they chose, and they'll return it. So Home Depot takes the paint back and then they discount it. So these can go from, $4 to 50 cents. So what I'll do is, and I don't go there often, maybe once a month, because I have so many because of the price that I pay for them. And I'll get, and then people pick kind of odd colors. So I can mix colors. So I'll get, let's say like this was probably like a really pale yellow. And then I'll just add, maybe a little bit of red to it or a little bit of brown to it to achieve the darker yellow.
The darker yellow. Okay. Mm-hmm. Now I'm waiting for my Billie Holiday painting. I can't wait. And I just wanted to include that what I find to be different. And that's why when I introduced you, I said exceptional, because you kind of involve the consumer in their purchase in their piece that, that they've chosen. And like, for example, when you asked me what color flowers do you want, I'm like, wow, I get to choose the flower, the color. Wait, give me a moment. I was like, give me a moment. I think I think I'm going to change my color. But yeah, I thought that was a little different. Is that something is that a Edmond's signature, or is that something that is being done now?
I mean, with art, there's no rules to anything. So I kind of take my artistic license, is what it's called, and just kind of run with it. So here's an example. This is what I peeled. This is the drip from the paint. So I accumulate these, and this is what your flowers are going to be made of. So your flowers are going to be 3D.
Oh, wow.
So,
Spike Lee's glasses.
Exactly. So all this stuff here, I collect these. I have a box full. So what I started to realize is a lot of my paintings have other paintings intertwined, because I've used, let's say, the red background from The Godfather, whatever's left in my palette, and I peel up. So when I peel the paint up, it's thin like this. So I call this paint skins. So I'll take this, and this is what Spike Lee's glasses are made of, all different paint that I saved from all my different paintings, even like the abstract. So all the colors in this abstract is what's in Spike Lee's glasses. Oh. So your flowers are gonna actually be 3D. That's why I asked you what color did you want them to be, because your piece is gonna be a one of one. It's gonna be a custom piece.
So because you explained that the original that you did was sold.
Yes.
And so you take and you make a print from the original.
Mm-hmm.
And then you paint over the original, the printed one. Wow.
Yes. So the correct term is embellish, hand embellish.
Mm-hmm.
So the majority of artwork that people buy are prints, are what's called giclée prints, which are high quality prints on heavyweight paper. You go into most of your friends' house, even people that are serious collectors, they have prints. They have artist prints or limited edition prints, which are done on like a heavyweight paper, say like a cardstock.
Mm-hmm.
So a thick paper, but it has a smooth finish. It doesn't have the porous finish like an actual greeting card. Well, some greeting cards have a smooth finish, and some of them have a heavy finish. But the majority of artwork that's owned by collectors are prints of original works. So what I do with my prints are actually on canvas. And do I have one here? Actually, yeah, I have one here, real quick. So this piece here is a canvas wrapped, correct term is a canvas wrapped print of the original.
Oh, okay.
So when I see it's
and Edmond, what's that measurement? What's that measurement?
This one is 24 by 36.
Okay.
And this is considered a large size painting.
Okay.
So what I'll do is with this one, I'm gonna go in. I'll probably really, focus on Felix the cat and some of these other. So these images are the images that I took. This is Jean-Michel Basquiat. He's the highest selling American painter ever. I think one of his pieces sold for 110 million.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and see, on the original painting here, I used the paint skids, and it's really, really thick, really, really heavy.
Yeah.
Where it almost looked like real hair. And so with these, they have a board backing so they can't get punctured. And they come with hanging hardware already, and it's canvas. It's actually canvas. So this is what you'll be receiving.
Great. I can't wait. You know, and I thought about, I've never had a canvas painting in my house. I have quite a few paintings, and some I have to get framed. And one thing I thought about, I said, wow, the convenience of having a canvas is that you don't have to worry about framing it.
No, you don't. So, and I know the painting of my son is not, I didn't paint on the bottom, and then the DMX painting also. But those are part of my collection. I paint the sides and the bottom so that you can hang it, and you don't have to get it framed, because framing is very expensive. I'm sure you know. Framing is something else.
Yeah, to get that right frame. What can you say to individuals who are pretty much stepping out and trying to do what you're doing now, not just art, but those who are just really trying to branch out, and because you're doing such a phenomenal job, you know, and during this time, we need more inspiration. That's why I was telling you earlier that I kind of like changed the direction of the interview, because I thought about it. I said, you know, we need inspiration right now. We need motivation right now. We have a lot going on. And so what can you say to people now who are trying to, especially those who are getting into the art business, you know, but also those who are trying to do something new?
Well, one thing I realized, my career was in sales, consumer sales. The majority of time I was in-person door-to-door sales, selling cable services to people. And you have to, I mean, if you set out, you always had a dream to do this or be that, or, you know, or I would love to do this, or I would love to, you know, this to be my goal. So what's holding you back other than yourself? So I think it's important to make a plan. You know, you gotta have a plan, as in with any business or goal. Have a plan, put it in motion, put it in writing, and do a lot of research. I think that's the really the most important thing, is you got to research the industry that you intend on pursuing. And for me, that meant, you know, hundreds of hours of YouTube, learning different techniques on how to paint, on how to mix colors, on which colors to use to achieve certain effects that you want to, you know, say for instance, painting water. There's just so many things that you don't know, that you have to learn, and you have to put the research in. So for me, it was a lot of YouTube and a lot of question asking for people that were willing, you know, people that were already in the industry, like Frank, for an example. And but mainly, I guess your question was what should you use as motivation?
Yes.
Just to go, you know, just to go for it. You got to go for it. Don't live and have regrets, you know, especially with us. You know, we're older now, so we don't have that. You know, you think about when you're in your 20s and your 30s and, oh, I got time to go back to school, or I got time to, you know, start my own business. Why not today?
Right.
Start it today. Spend the extra time instead of spending time, you know, watching TV.
Right.
Spend that time on your business and start your business part-time. I started part-time. I was driving, and I would stay up, you know, another 3-4 hours. And so what I found with this, I work probably, you know, close to 80 hours a week doing this. because I'm never off. I'm never off. You know, my studio is here in my home, so I can work anytime I want. You know, and I can take break. You know, it's a gift and a curse because it's about time management. But for me, I don't get no results. There's no cutting corners for me. I got to put the hours in. If I don't put the hours in, it just won't get done.
You made a very good point, and I think a lot of time that's where the fear come in, and the hesitation come in because we joked about it earlier about being dependent on that every 2 weeks paycheck, but it's a reality. And I think you know, now when you go into your own, you're working your own vision. This is your vision, and if you don't do it, it won't get done.
Fear cripples us all and makes us settle for things that we deserve better.
Right.
So I think, you know, one of the biggest things is overcoming your fear, but realizing that you got to put the work in. Like highly successful people, or just people that are successful, they put the time in. Like there's no replacement for putting hard work in. You know, one of my mottos is I'm never off. I'm always working. Call me, you know, you need to reach out to me, call me. You don't have to text me first. If I can't answer the phone, I won't, but I'll get back to you.
Right.
And just text me. So my business is always open.
How can we get in contact with you? How can they see more of your work?
Social media. I'm on Instagram as well as Facebook. My Instagram page is Edmond, Edmond, the letter R, and my last name Wilson, Wilson, on Instagram. And I believe my Facebook page is the same. Let me see. Let me check really quick. I get so confused. It's just Edmond Wilson, Edmond Wilson. And my profile picture on there is me showing off with my with my arms out after I probably had worked out. So I being a little crazy on a little self-absorbed.
My last question, you mentioned your son. Now, do you see your son picking up the same talent, a gift?
So yeah, initially he was an artist,
mm-hmm.
and he stopped at some point. I think the focus on football, because he wound up getting a scholarship for football.
Okay.
But he is a journalist. So
okay.
I did an interview a couple of years ago, and actually the people that were interviewing me interviewed him.
Okay.
And he said, they asked him, was I an inspiration? And he said, yeah, I'll probably be one of the people that started a second career later on in life, and, you know, went on to do good things with it. I don't want to say become famous. But that's what his quote was. So
he's definitely following your steps.
Yeah, I believe that he's very inspired to do his craft. So ideally his job would be a sportscaster on, say, Sports Center or you know, sports channels. So I'm hoping that, you know, he's watching and seeing that I'm going for it and I'm putting the time in. I think my cousin called it sweat equity.
Oh,
putting the sweat equity in to, you know, to fulfill my dreams.
Most definitely. I want to thank you for allowing us to come into your world and sharing your beautiful art with us and your words of wisdom with us. I want to thank you for taking the time and accepting my my invite for this interview. So thank you. And I just pray the very best for you. And I'm looking for my work. My Billie
Yeah.
Holiday. I can't wait to get it.
Yeah, so your work, I'll probably deliver yours to you.
Okay.
I come down, and I haven't seen you in 30 years, so I'll probably and hand deliver it to you.
Oh, great. Okay. Thank you for watching the Arise Show.
Thank you.
Arise for a strong dose of love, joy, laughter, and information for healthy living.